Hi, I'm Brian Rose,
I'm Michael Mcpherson.
and welcome to the Lion's Den.
Episode 4, mate. Episode 4.
Pretty good at that now.
You are. You were just like pro there, just like smooth as silk, smooth as silk. It's take 27, that was. Take 27. And I'm excited for today. Good episode, really. We're going to talk about the journey from amateur to professional. We're going to talk a bit about coaches, and we're going to talk about the big saga that's going on at the moment with Fury and Joshua, and Wilder throwing himself back into the mix. And we've got some special guests. You want to tell them about?
Yeah, we've got a great person to talk about, adapting from amateur to pro. He's a great amateur, Anthony Fowler, and now a great pro. Obviously, beat me as a pro, so he must be unbelievable.
Yeah,
we've also got a special guest on, and it's my coach, Bobby Rimmer, who has trained me for 15 years. So he's a great man to speak to. I'm sure he'll have some funny stories about me.
Definitely. Let's do it then.
Yeah, let's go.
So, mate, the journey from amateur to professional, like you say, we've got Anthony Fowler coming on later on. And you know, I always look at it with pros. You've got guys like Fowler and Usyk who've had like that great kind of pedigree, and in some cases it really works out for them when it comes to the pro game. And there's others that, you know, it really doesn't. The one that stands out to me, you know, would be Harrison. Could never kind of recreate his amateur glory. You know, what do you think the main differences are when you step into the pro game?
I think it's been able to. I mean, not everyone's made different. So I mean, you've got to have really good stamina, especially if you find in championship rounds. I didn't know how much stamina I would have. You know, I had to train different. But I met a great man. It was Bobby Rimmer. He was training Ricky Hatton, Gomez, Paul Smith, Matthew Macklin. He was helping train them sort of guys. Probably missed a load out there that are really good, but he and his main thing was on the body belt, and that was planting your feet for body shots, which is something that I don't do. But what it did do was help me plant my feet. So although I kept my style, and that was my boxing skills and my technique, it also helped me plant my feet. And it's important because you can dance around for 3 rounds as an amateur, use your feet, which is what I was like. I was on my toes, you know. I was really good on my feet. I was still good on my feet when I turned pro, but I just found that I had to slow it down and do it for a minute and a half of the round rather than the full 3 minutes, because you've got another 12 rounds to do. So yeah, it's just about adapting in that sense, and understanding that you've got to fight 12 rounds, so you can't bounce around for 3-4 rounds and then tire out. So it's about just slowing it down.
Yeah. What about the distraction side of it? Because I always think, you know, when you're an amateur, it's quite straightforward, isn't it? You turn up for a fight, and that's it. And you go into the program, and especially like yourself, when you start to build your career and you fight for titles, and the stuff that goes around it, does it start becoming messy? Do you get distracted?
Possibly. I was thinking more like it. I mean, if you're an elite amateur, there's still that pressure. You know, the Olympic Games. You can imagine. I mean, I didn't go to the Olympics, but I can imagine the pressure of going to the Olympics. It's about as big as it gets. It's like fighting for a world title.
Yeah.
But you haven't got the same sort of crowds. You know, I fought in front of 20,000 people, and the pressure's on. You know, you don't want to be getting knocked out from 30,000 people. The pressure is really on. Whereas an amateur, I think there's not that sort of pressure of selling tickets. You know, you get that sort of pressure.
Like the promotion side of things, like you have to almost learn the game, and you're kind of like
pushing and shoving it away in. Yeah, pushing and shoving it away in. That's how you sell tickets. It's something that I've never done, but to get up there and be the best, you have to have the talk as well. And these amateurs, some of them don't know how to do that.
I guess it's all a learning curve, right? You go in and you just learn the game, play the game as you go, and some of them fall short, and some of them flourish. But what would be the advice that you would give? You know, if you had, and I know you train with a lot of good amateurs in here and stuff, and you try and help young fighters and stuff, but what would be the key bit of advice that you would say if you had a fighter going for his pro debut tomorrow and you kind of believe he was a bit talented and wanted to kind of guide him? What would you say?
I'd say before you turn pro, find the right coach for definite, find the right management. I've made mistakes with management in the past. A coach I've obviously never made a mistake with, because I've been loyal to Bobby and stayed with him throughout my career and achieved what more than I thought I'd ever achieve. But it's important you get the right coach, because if you're not going to listen, if you get with the wrong coach and you're not listening, then you're not going to learn. Obviously, because you're not listening. Whereas Bobby, I listened to him. Bobby just not helped me become a better fighter. He helped me through life as well. You know, when I needed his help, you know, he'd literally pick me up from anywhere. He was the kind of coach that used to pick me up and drop me 6 miles away from my house just so I could run back. You know, a lot of coaches don't do that. He lived and breathed it and went above and beyond the call of duty to make sure I got to the top. And that's the kind of coach that you need. So it's important before you even start that you get a coach that you're going to listen to and that you trust.
Yeah, well, that leads us on perfectly to talk about coaches. But just before we do, I want to ask you the opposite of that question. I want to say, you know, what do you think the main reason is that amateurs fall short? You know, these really kind of highly rated amateurs and prospects who don't make it. What would you say the biggest reason is there?
I think a lot of hype. I don't think social media helps now. I mean, some of these amateurs are turning pro and they've got 200,000 followers before we know it. They're sponsored by, I don't want to use examples, don't want to pick anyone out, but sponsored by these unbelievable, and they've got money before they're even turn pro. You know,
the hunger's not there.
The hunger's not there. Yeah, like I remember finding it so difficult. I mean, my missus was paying for my train fare to Manchester every week when I first turned pro.
She paid for your one to come here tonight. Exactly.
I struggled. You know, it was really, really hard, and it was like that until I fought for the British title.
Yeah,
I think I got £12,000 to fight for the British title, which for me was huge. I was like, wow, I've got more than 10 grand. But when in hindsight, it's not a lot of money. You know, it's not. But then I defended it for 25, and then I got 27. You know, the money started coming in then. So,
but you stayed hungry, right? So you were still hungry until you reached the top.
Yeah, I stayed hungry, and I've never had enough money for me to not be hungry. You know, I've always wanted to get rich. I've always wanted to earn more money. But for me, it got to the point where it wasn't about money. It was about the belts. You know, I wanted to win belts, and I wanted to achieve. I just wanted to achieve at something that I've worked so hard for, and that's what these amateurs need to remember. They need to remember why they started, where they've come from, you know, the backgrounds they've come from. They never started because they wanted to make money. They started because they wanted to be a champion. So keep that in mind, and when you become a champion, the money will come.
Yeah, I think you can't get better advice than that. So we move on to coaches there. I know we started touching on it in the amateur professional segment, but do you know what? I want you to tell the people listening a story that you just told me off air as we go into coaches about your journey with Bobby and your bad sparring session in Sheffield. And I think it'll give people like a real reality of how tough the boxing game can be and how dedicated you have to be.
Yeah. I remember we went to Chris Aston's in Huddersfield. So it was Yorkshire anyway, somewhere. Chris Aston's gym, so everyone will know where that is. I sparred that man. I can't remember where I sparred. You know, I must have punched in the head too hard. But on the way back, I was fuming because nothing worse than a bad spar. I was like, fucking hell, but what a nightmare there. You know, I've sparred shit. And he was like, mate, you think you've had a nightmare? We both had a nightmare. Look at the fuel, and we had nothing left. And we were in Sheffield or an hour away from Manchester. And I was like, shit, how are we going to get home? But I don't know how. We must have done it off like by the skin of our teeth, and we managed to get home. But it's times like that I'll always remember. So, like, if you ask me about the memories, you know, I remember winning the belts, and I remember earning money, and you know, my rise to fight for a world title. But I'll never forget them moments. You know, I remember Bobby needed a loaf of bread, and we were looking down the side of the couch for money. Yeah. You know, it's crazy times. And like I said before, when I first turned pro, my wife paid for my train fare and helped me out with money because she was working for the NHS and she had more money than me at the time. You know, so everyone around me has played a part. That's why I see us all as a team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can. That's what's giving you that unity with Bobby, and we're going to get him on in a minute. And, you know, that long journey you've had with him, you know, it's all been kind of forged from these kind of tough times that you've had together. It's incredible to hear, really. Like, people see it in this ring, you know, kind of like sparring on the body, but, you know, doing kind of just training, but actually then relationships are sometimes a lot deeper than just boxing.
Yeah, of course, it makes you hungry. And some people that come in here and listen, I'm far from got a lot of money because I haven't, but I'll pull up in a Mercedes outside and come in my gym, and people like must think, you know, he's always had that sort of money, but I haven't. You know, I've worked hard to get this gym, worked hard to drive a nice car. And
it's a nice car as well. I've got to say, I was a bit shocked. It's better than mine. I was a bit jealous.
It's something that you've got to work at. You know, that's advice I give people: work hard at life, not just boxing. Work hard at life and reap the rewards. You'll get what you want in life if you believe in yourself. Work hard at anything you do. You know, whether it be football, boxing, golf, anything.
To be true to yourself, right? That's something I always say. You know, if you believe in something, you believe you can achieve something, you believe you can get somewhere, just go for it. Just go for it and don't stop. And only ever surround yourself with the people who believe you can get there too. And I guess that's what we're saying about you and Bobby. Should we get Bobby on?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Hiya, Bobby.
Hello, mate.
Welcome to the Line of Dead.
It's nice to be asked to be on it for once, you know. You should have asked me first.
I've been saying every week we need to get Bobby on his box office. We're going now, we can steal him on.
No, I've been saying we've got to be desperate to get him on, and tonight we were a bit desperate, Bob.
What's it been like coaching Brian for this amount of time? Because you've been together for a long, long time, and that's actually quite rare nowadays. You know, you've stuck together through the ups and the downs of the career. What's it been like working with him for this long?
It's been great. We've been from the very start boxing 4 rounds at the George Carnell Centre to fighting at the Barclays Centre in New York. We've been all the way from the bottom right to the very top, you know, fighting for the world title. There's been ups and downs, but it's been an absolute pleasure to train Brian, honestly. Once you get to know each other and you have a close bond like we did, I mean, lived in the same house together for a long time, so, you know, we had to really get on, didn't we? It was always towards the end of the camp when he was tight on his diet and stuff, and when we did have an argument, that's when it was like, I keep telling him every day, I'm on him every single day, saying, you know, you've got to eat this, you've got to do this, you've got to train. We're the people that has to make him do the things he don't want to do, you know. So at some point in a camp, you're going to get a little bit of a kick-off, but it's been fantastic and been a pleasure to work with him. And when the end does come, I don't think I'll be able to manage. You know, I'm looking forward to when Brian's finished to training fighters ourselves. I'm not used to being around him. I don't think I can go more than a week without speaking to him.
You're like a double act, aren't you? You're like a double.
You know what? I thought you was going to go in on me there and slag me off, but I've done all right. I know there's more to come, but I've done all right there. I'm slagging you off before you come on.
He wasn't, Bob.
Yeah, mate, listen, there's a time for having a laugh and there's a time for telling the truth, and I just feel it's the time for telling the truth. I'm just waiting for the time for you to get that time to you to tell the truth about what a great coach I am.
Oh, he's saying it all the time, Bob. He's saying, I think he lost about you. We've all seen it. We've all seen it.
Lost about Bobby. You've done a lot for me, Bobby.
From the start, it's been great. When you're training somebody who wants to get to the top, you know, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I want to ask something actually. And this is probably quite a brutal question actually with Brian sitting next to me. I mean, you talk about that journey from the beginning to the world title fight and to where we are now. You know, Brian's still doing it. I think he's still hungry. I see him training and stuff. When you look at Brian now, do you honestly still believe he's got a lot to give in the boxing world? Is there things in him now that are better than there were before? Is there things you can see?
Obviously, Brian's older now. We've seen the best of Brian Rose. You know, but Brian Rose has still got a lot to give. If you look at Brian towards the end of his career, he's only ever been beat closely on points. The fights that he's lost, he's only just lost. He's not been beat up convincingly. You know, he lives well outside the ring, so, you know, he's not partying all the time and doing things he shouldn't be doing. He's going to be here a lot longer than some of the people. The thing with Brian now is, I mean, the hardest thing for Brian now is dieting.
I've tried my best to be involved in these big fights, and you know, the last 3 or 4 occasions we've agreed to these fights, signed contracts, and we've been let down. So for me, it's disheartening. So while we're all being honest, I might as well be honest and say, you know what? Yeah, I am disheartened by it, and I do tick over. I am still training, but how I'll get up for another fight, as big as the one that was in Vegas, is going to be very hard. I think the only person and fight that I could possibly get up for now is Scott Fitz, but he needs to be quick because I'm on the verge of retiring. So that probably not the time to speak about it, but that is a fight that I would 100% get up for. So that fight needs to happen quick.
It's not just you, but nobody's been offered good fights, have they? And then when we got that fight offered in Las Vegas, I mean, I've been to Vegas and all that, but we've never been together. It would have been fantastic. And I think that's why we were so excited about it. And I don't usually fall for it, but I fell for that one. Through no fault of our own, it fell through. I mean, I was as gutted as you.
We drove to Spain, and listen, we got fuck all. We got nothing, did we? We got basically...
No. It's fucking weird. Hey, it's the worst journey I've ever been on in my life.
It was tougher than I thought because I fought at a heavy weight than I should have been at. So, I didn't go over there and knock someone out in 30 seconds. It was a tough 6-rounder.
No.
But I thought, what, I've done that to get a big fight. And when I come back and I get messed about, not once, but twice. After doing fights, that for me was disheartening. I don't want the trip to Spain to be a waste, Bob, but...
Listen, the positives was we've never boxed in Spain before, and we have now. And the positives for me is, as long as I live, I'll never stay in a fucking Campanile hotel ever again.
And that was Kieran's fault, Bob.
I've slept in better police cells than that.
What was I like to stay in the same room as, Bob?
You don't know, but I was lay awake. I couldn't go to sleep, and I was looking on my phone for flights home.
Well, I was snoring next to you. I can't breathe out my nose.
Yeah.
My nose is fucked, and obviously I sleep with my mouth open.
We can blame Bobby for that anyway.
So in the morning, he's leaving the room, he's going, and you fucking snore, you cunt. I was like, oh my God.
It's all part of the journey, innit, mate? Who else, coach and boxer, have drove to fucking Spain for a fight and then fought and then come home and everywhere was shut because of COVID? It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and mate, especially with what we've been achieved and where we've stayed and where we've been, to do that again, like going back 15 years, it was mad.
The last time I worked with a fighter before Spain, I was in California for 12 weeks and then was in Tokyo for 2 weeks in a big suite in the Westin Hotel in front of 80,000 people at the Saitama Arena. And then I get back, I come home and go to drive to Spain with him in a car.
I've got to ask you both. It's clear from hearing you talk, you've got some great memories together and got a great bond. And I'm sure that will continue on both sides long after Brian retired, and I hope that's in a good 5 or 10 fights time, mate. Because I still think you got a lot. I still think you got a lot in you. But what's your best memories of your journey with Brian?
Sat in my house after he won the British title, thinking, "Fucking hell," you know what I mean? I've trained myself someone who's won the British title. For me, when Brian won that British title, it was like when Ricky beat Costa Zoo, and I worked with Ricky when he beat Costa Zoo. But for that night, we'd done it ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mine's similar. I think that was the start of something that we knew we could achieve when nobody else did. It was only at one point me, you, and my family and your family that believed in me and thought, you know what, he has got it, because they've seen what I was capable of in the gym. But when I fought Prince Aaron, everyone thought I was going to get hammered off him. Mate, I was destined to win that fight.
Remember when we was in the gym and you was down to defend your English title against Eric Ochieng? And I said to you in the gym, I said, you know what, mate? I've got a funny feeling they're going to offer you Prince Aaron. They was looking for an opponent for Prince Aaron. And I remember saying to you, don't be surprised if we don't get offered the Prince Aaron fight. And we did, didn't we?
So what I was going to ask you, Bob, we've been talking, what would be your biggest advice to a young amateur turning professional? What would be your first important bit of advice you'd give them?
Just take your time, don't rush. Get a lot of kids that turn pro, and they're already superstars on social media. You need to take your time. Like me and Brian did, we went the long way. we went Central Area title, British title, English title, British title, eliminator for the world title, then the world title. I think going the long way, the old way, is the best way.
You missed one out there though, Bob. You missed the WBO Intercontinental, which I told him a few times that I won.
Yeah, no, you've never mentioned that
Central Area.
Mate, I could have won that fucking title in the local park, you dick. What are you going on about?
Right, thanks, Bobby. Thanks for coming on the Lions Den.
Ta-ra, boys.
It was great, Bobby. I've got to say, you can just see from listening to the two of you that you've got something more than that coach kind of like pupil bond. It's like a friendship. You can see you've been to the wars together.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't get away from him. He's working in my gym now as well, so it's like.
Well, according to him there, he's going to be living with you. He's going to be coaching. I tell you what.
Well, I lived in Manchester, and then he met a girl in Blackpool. So now he lives around here. So I see him passing every day, and now he's working in my gym. So I can't get away from him.
You love it, really?
No, I do love it. I do love it. He's an amazing man, Bobby.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can see that. I mean, we're going to get Anthony Fowler on soon, but I just want to go into something. The big news in boxing at the moment, and it's actually the news that some people are even probably getting a little bit fed up with now, with the whole like Joshua Fury saga and Wilder Francis up into mix. We've got to address it. It's something we all love to talk about. Now we know that the AJ Fury fight's not going to happen initially. You know, Wilder Fury 3 is going to happen, and Usyk's going to fight Joshua. It could actually work out well, you know. It could actually work out well. I mean, I'm trying to be positive about it, as I always do. I've got a feeling that, you know, we could get a great fight between Usyk and Joshua. I'm not as excited about Fury and Wilder 3, but it's always going to be an anxious watch, and then we might get the super fight at Wembley. I mean, how do you see it all going?
Like you just said, the thing I worry the most about, I did think if it doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen, and that's how I'm thinking now, and it's a very negative way to look at it, but I just think it was done, it was confirmed, you know, it was out there, and now all of a sudden it's not happening. My biggest worry is if Usyk beats Joshua. I think Usyk potentially could beat Joshua. I honestly believe that. If Joshua doesn't put it on Usyk, Usyk could outbox him.
Yeah.
He's very, very slick, and he's a better boxer than Joshua.
Yeah.
So he has to get him out of there. I don't think he'll beat him on points. Joshua has to knock him out to win. That's my honest opinion. I don't think Tyson Fury will have any problems with Wilder, but at the same time, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. So I'm just gutted about the whole situation. There's still going to be two great fights.
Yeah.
Whether they meet after them fights is a different story.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, just to recap what you first said there, I personally, the bigger worry for me is Wilder Fury. I think Joshua's too big for Usyk. I think he's a fantastic fighter, absolutely fantastic. I think he is a better boxer than Joshua, even though I sometimes think Joshua doesn't get the credit he deserves. I just think that pure kind of 3 or 4 inches in height and that natural 2 or 3 stone, I just think he'll get. I don't think you can hurt Joshua. When you can't hurt somebody, it allows a person to grow in it, you know, and stop him. So I think Joshua will come through that.
He was always going to go against him anyway, because that's what you do.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, that's it. I was just waiting to see what you said. No, I wasn't, mate. I often agree with you. People don't hear on here, but I often agree. But that with Wilder Fury, Fury proven it. Different class from Wilder. I think Wilder's a limited boxer. I would never say that within 100 meters of him, but he's a limited boxer, and we've seen that, but. It's the most anxious watch ever with Wilder. Like, Fury could completely school him for 11, most of the 12th round and then get knocked out. So I do think it's a bigger risk for Fury than it is for Joshua.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. I know what you're saying, but I still go with my head.
Yeah, you almost agree with it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was going to give you a little bit of credit there.
But I've got to say, on the business side of things, it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Because I can't see how Bob Arum and Tyson Fury and all his team didn't know that this was going on. They didn't know they'd have this obstacle. And they may have felt that they were going to be able to pass it and stuff, but it was never a done deal. It was never a done deal.
Someone must have known that it weren't a done deal. He's a businessman and he's been very professional up to now with his business. He earns a lot of money. He's either messing Joshua about purposely, or he genuinely didn't know. But I just can't see that being a thing. He must have known that there was doubt.
I'll tell you what, I've got a question for you. Just who do you think's more upset now that we know it's not happening this time around? who do you think's sitting there more upset, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, or Bob Arum and Tyson Fury?
I think it could be equal. I genuinely think. I don't think any fighter, proper fighters, are scared of each other. I've never been scared to fight anyone. That's the truth. Yeah, as long as the money's right, there's no reason there's no reason for the best not to be fighting the best. So I think they'll be equally bothered. You know, they'll equally be pissed off.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I want to believe that they both wanted to fight. I want to believe that they're both upset that it never happened. It just there's something about it. There's something cloudy about it. I just feel like, was it ever going to happen? Is it going to ever happen? But like we said, we'll be positive. Watch 2 great fights come out, and hopefully we get the big super fight at Wembley, and I'll certainly be there.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven that it's politics that stopped it.
Yeah,
but I do believe that those 2 boxers wanted to fight each other. I do. Yeah,
let's hope we get it. Let's bring Anne on. Do you know what? I'm excited about this guest. We've had a lot of great guests on this show. There's someone you shared the ring with him, so we've got that there to get past. But I like hearing Anthony Fowler talk on so many subjects, and I think he's got a really exciting career. So let's get him up.
This is definitely the only person we're getting on the podcast that's beaten me. I'm not having any more.
It's quite a long list of them, isn't it? I'm only joking. Let's get him on.
Hi, Anne. How are you, mate?
Oh, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Welcome to the Lions Den.
Nice one. Second time I've been here, lad.
No one knows about that, mate. No one knows about that.
Hey, listen, I'm safe in this one. Definitely safe.
Me too, bro. Me too.
It's a tough one for you, isn't it? Because the last time you'd have been fighting each other, you'd have been punching each other in the face.
Yeah, but literally, like,
well, he was
punching me in the face. Yeah. But literally, straight after the fight, we had our arms around each other anyway. So.
Yeah, cool. All respect, mate. I've just said before, I wouldn't even come on, mate. I've had a stressful day, but you know what? All respect for Brian. I can't let him down.
No, I appreciate that. I really do. And you know what? I was probably coming up across a little bit, putting a bit of pressure on you, but because he comes from Manchester, you see, so he comes all the way from Manchester. I'm like,
yeah. No, I wouldn't let you down. Last minute.
Thanks, mate.
I wouldn't do that.
Good lads. You were telling me a story before actually about how the first time you actually got in the ring with Ant wasn't when you fought a year or so ago.
No, he was an amateur at the time, and I know why he called the machine now. By the way, and he was. We did 6 tough rounds. I mean, they were tough for me. I don't know how tough they were for you, but they were 6 tough rounds. I just did a couple of bags afterwards, and you got your coach on the pads, and you did about 6 rounds on the pads, and you were fighting on the Saturday. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe how hard he trains for an amateur. I was fighting 12 rounds, and you was fighting, the 5-3s. So I was like, wow, unbelievable. That's why you got the nickname Machine.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm saying too much, but I look back in the amateur days. I was saying like 3 or 4 times a day for 3-round fights. It was a bit madness, but I don't know. I was an amateur, but I could have done better. As a pro, you realize to give your body a bit more rest. But I realised I can do the rounds better now over a longer distance, big trading less. I think back in the day I done a bit too much, as Brian was saying, mate.
Yeah, I actually said to him, I said, there's like there's something wrong with him. He was like a training. So like you just said, you just confirmed that. You probably overtrained, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I would admit, when I look back, and I was always injured and stuff. Like I was doing too much, and like your body can only take so much. You know what I mean? Like, so as a pro now, I train a little bit less, and I feel I'm better for it.
Yeah, we're talking a bit today actually about the journey from the amateur game to the program, and no one's got a better amateur career than yourself. Gold medalist and everything like that. I mean, when you turned pro, what was the immediate differences that you noticed in the professional ranks, and what was the kind of things that you took in with you that helped you, and the things that you also took in with you that you didn't?
I think where I went wrong when I first turned pro was I was boxing such a high level as amateur. When I went pro, I was finding it a lot more easier in my fights. I wasn't really like getting on a first gear, and I was winning quite easy. So when obviously I stepped up to a 10-round fight, I boxed Fitzgerald, and I thought it'd be the same thing. I thought, I hit him in a few shots, here go down, same old story where Scott boxed a clever fight. He tried to use his feet, work my body, slow me down a bit. He was smart, and I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for it in my head. I thought it would have been easy. Where when I boxed Brian, for example, the opposite. I was prepared to go to hell for the fight, where with Scott I was a bit naive, and I thought I'd show up, it'll be easy. I was planning my after party, booking all tables. After me daft, and I don't want to look back, but I would have been, when I boxed Scott, I would have been pro just over a year, And I spent 5 months out with an injured hand as well, broke my hand in my 4 fights. So I've done about 12 months training as a pro when I went to a 10-round title fight, and I learned that amateur boxing and professional boxing is different. Over 10 rounds, you need to be fully hydrated, fully recovered, and smart and have a game plan. You can't just show up and go in, crash bang wallop like I used to as an amateur. So I learned that day, and since then I've went from strength to strength.
Yeah. No, super stuff. And the Fitzgerald one's an interesting one because you've got a little bit of a connection there, because there's quite some links for Brian to fight Fitzgerald.
It's strange because it's mad that I'm still in this position. I'm 36, and people, even my mum and dad want me to retire. Do you know what I mean? But mate, if you don't fight Fitzgerald, I have got that chance to fight him because of this Preston Blackpool thing. So I'm half hoping you don't get the fight, but then I'm thinking, you know what, you deserve the fight, because let's have it right. When you fight him next time, you'll smash him. That's my personal opinion on it, because I think the fight with him and then the fight with me, I think it'll have taught you so much. I mean, I might be speaking out of turn, but I think the fight with me definitely, you know, you was at a place that I think later on in the rounds, you know, you was in a place where you was getting hit and you kind of went into your shell, but then you said, didn't you, you hit me with that big right hand in the last round, which proved that you can get over them moments in fights, which what you did proved you come through it. And I hate talking about myself in a bad way as well. Pisses me.
I don't know how Brian stayed on his feet in that last round. I was ringside there.
I remember saying to Brian after the fight that he would have beat me the fight before. Would have boxed Brian the same mentality as Scott in the same preparation. Brian would have boxed me. I would have beat me on points. Like I learned a lot from that defeat. And I said, see, I won the fight. I was so naive, but I had just with Fitzgerald with all that back and forth and stuff. I just thought he went right mentally, so I just thought it'd be a walk in the park. I just thought this kid's not right in the head.
Yeah, we all thought that.
That's what I'm saying. But he gave him his due, mate. On the night, he boxed a great fight, and he was. I hit him and everything, and I broke my hands on his head. I hit him so hard, and he wouldn't go down. The kid gave him his due. So, I think all the rivalry stuff worked in his favour. Where with me, I thought this kid's a barn pot. You don't even want to show up. Do you know what I mean? I was going to put out of the fight at one point. Because, he was that much loopy, wasn't he? The ball was saying to him, like, look, better calm down, mate. You won't be fighting.
Is that the fight you want now, Anne? Is that the top of priority list for you to kind of go and like avenge that, or do you want to move on to bigger things?
I did want to avenge it. Don't be wrong, I did want to avenge it, but it gets to the point where like, how long can I wait? Do you know what I mean? I have been waiting. I waited for a long time, and now I'm like a lot. I'm like ranked 11 in the world with WBA, WBO. I want to be moving forward now where Scott's like weighing in 12 stone 1, boxing 6 rounds and stuff. Like, in terms of my career, to step back, but it's just that me ego, like Brian, I want to revenge over the kid, and I know we'll smash him over a fact I will. So me boxed him then compared to me now, I'm completely different. I'm a completely different fighter. That's what I was then, and he's not. He's if anything, he's gone backwards. So it's show come the night, but I don't really think we're gonna box now. To be honest, like talking to Shane and the name he's mentioned to me to like high world fringe fighters, like top fighters, where I don't think me and Scott are going to fight, if I'm being honest. So hopefully Brian smashes him instead.
Mate, he's a messer. The thing that you don't want to be doing at your age now, you need to be developing it and moving on. And you're not going to get that if you're waiting around for Fitzgerald. So you can target like Cheeseman and win that British, and you know, like you say, fight these ex-world champions that'll get you on the front, you know, a world title. So you've got loads of options, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I've been trying with the Cheeseman fight, but he just doesn't want it, mate. He's been offered like a lot of money, and he just won't fight me for whatever reason. I think it's probably his coach rather than him. But that fight, like I wanted that fight badly, but I think I want to try and skip on now. Let's go to the European level, I think, because I can't make him fight me. So I can't force him.
Yeah. No, I think for you, I mean, I could see you 100% at world level and pushing on for world titles and stuff. And when you say the other names, like Fitzgerald, absolutely no disrespect to him. You know, he fought great the night against you, but I don't see him having any prospects of going on to that level. But you have, so I think you could actually like surpass these names and go on to bigger things and just, you know, not waste your time there.
Yeah,
that's it. This year it's gonna be like I'm gonna be in some hard fights. Not like Shane wants to push me hard, like Brian said. I'm not getting younger. I'm maybe prime now physically, so it's time to get in there with these big names and see what I'm made of, type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And you spoke a bit about Shane there, and I know you changed over to Shane from Dave Caldwell, and we like Dave, so I'm not here to say anything bad about him, and I know he's done some great work with you. But was there something in the fight with Brian that made you realise it was time to change, especially off the back of the Fitzgerald loss as well? I mean, what was it that pushed you to make that decision?
Oh, I was happy with the Brian fight. I thought, obviously, that fight, I was really nervous. I was thinking, I know Brian can box, and we had a hard style to beat. I knew he was clever and experienced, so I was going to that fight really nervous. And then after I boxed Brian, I boxed Harry Scarf, who was 8-0, he was English champion, like. And like in that fight, I won quite comfortable. And after I had that second gear, and I wasn't really happy with my performance. And I thought, I'm going a bit staley. I'm doing the same thing. I've been in Sheffield like 10 years now. I thought I need to have fresh outlook. I thought if I keep boxing like this, I'm not going to get nowhere. So I need to make a change. And I just thought like Shane was a great fit, and I think he's proved to be a great fit. Like my last performance was my best performance as a professional. He was a top fighter, and he boxed in a Canelo Alvarez undercard in a world title eliminator and went 12 rounds with a Russian who was like 19-0. So he was a good fighter, and I've done him in 3 rounds. So like I've showed that I have like took that step up now, which I wanted to do, and I've done it. So it's a good move for me.
Yeah, I think you've improved so much, even since the fight with me and obviously Fitzgerald. You've improved loads under McGuigan, but it's taking nothing away from Caldwell, because I think he's a great coach, and sometimes you just click better with other coaches. It doesn't make them better than the next, it's just you click better, don't you?
Yeah, I just think with Dave taught me a lot of new stuff. Around to Dave, I wear a lot of me head movement, some defences, me body shots, and I've still got that off Dave, what Dave taught me. Where Shane's on me back boxing me and me jab, losing me long arms. I've got a great jab, using me power shots and punching longer and harder. So I think it's worked well, the 2 coaches I've had, because I've got a bit of both.
That's what shocks me the most with you, by the way, how long your arms are. I'm sure when you walked in the ring, you're dragging them on the canvas, you touching the canvas. Mate, your arms are so long, aren't they?
Yeah, no, everyone who was sparred, they say to me, my jab's like a right hand, they all like, they all know my jab's a heavy, halber shot, and like you said, it's deceivingly long, comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, everyone says my jab's good, but mate, you was beating me to the jab that night, and it's the first time in my life I've ever been beaten to the jab, so your jab is definitely...
I remember in camp, right, I remember I was sparring at amateur kid, and he was a GB #1, really good fighter, and I was sparring like he was jab for jab, and I remember Dave saying to me after the round, he went, listen, Brian Rose will jab your head off, you can't out-jab Brian. And I was thinking, man, I can't, I know I can't have had a great jab. But Dave was saying to me about your jab in the camp. But I thought, I believe in my own abilities, my own jab, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you
I remember saying to me.
You beat me to the jab.
Did you pay Dave Caldwell to say that?
I know that. I'm buzzing with that, you know.
You said, I remember saying to me, I remember thinking, nah, I've never had a jab in my life. I've got a really good jab myself. Like I used to out-jab Froch, and Froch was a super middleweight, and he had a good jab too.
Yeah, it must have been because I was getting on a bit, eh?
Must have been like quick at the right time.
So, we're all excited for the future and where it goes to you. Where do you see your own career? If someone said to you, we don't like to look ahead too much, but if someone said in 3 years' time, where do you want to be? You're sitting here again, and what would you like to achieve in that time?
Yeah, listen, I'd love to be world champion. I wouldn't still be boxing now. I didn't believe in it. There was times when I did that myself, but back now with Shane, where I'm at, I fully believe I can be world champion. I've been in the ring with many world champions, Froch, De Gale, Big O Saunders, plenty of them. I've never ever been out of my depth. I've always more than matched all of them. So I know I'm capable of it. I know sparring's different to fighting, but I feel as though I'm coming to my own now, and I feel as though I can get there.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think you can do it.
Yeah, honestly, you're my friend, so I'll be honest. Like when you fought me, and someone asked me, "Do you think he'll be world champion?" I actually said no. I said, "You know what? I don't think he will be world champion." But like I've just spoke there about your improvements, I honestly think you'll go on and win a world title. I do.
Yeah.
I think.
Someone. I think he's done an interview. Someone sent me that interview, and I said to them, "You know what? I agree with him. At that performance, then I wouldn't get. I ain't getting nowhere." Yeah. Exactly why I made the move, because I'm not stupid myself. I know when you're boxing a certain level, I know the step up's massive. So I knew myself that if I carry on going like that, I ain't gonna become world champion. So I didn't take no offence, not like that, because if you're only seeing on the bright lights, right now behind closed doors what I've done, but it means not unless you do it under the pressure, making the weight in the little gloves. So I know I can get there, but it's just about being at the right path and the right fight at the right time type of thing.
It is timing, 100%. I mean, if you get the right world champion on the right day, it's timing, and the fights leading up to that as well. And if you get the right fights leading up to that, and you get them learning fights, you'll be a world champion. I've no doubt you'll be a world champion.
Yeah, I remember you saying about your journey, and like you got your Andrade, so absolute nightmare. But your style and his style is a complete nightmare for you. You know what I mean? But hopefully, like
southpaws.
I don't mind them, I don't mind them, but I'm not here for a great jab, so the jab done is effective with the southpaw, so I like to tee off my jab and it's a lot harder to land it against southpaw, so I definitely prefer orthodox myself.
Yeah.
There was talks about me fighting Austin South, and I was thinking, even though he's getting on a little bit now, he's still a southpaw, and I just don't like southpaws.
Just avoid it. That's what I mean. You're in a position where you can avoid them.
As I said to Shane, and Shane, you know what, mate, fucking fuck them southpaws, lad.
Yeah. But Brian's got to take those fights now. I'll be on the phone straight after this.
You know what? I took a fight with that fucking Ammo Williams, didn't I? I didn't want that fight.
I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it, mate. Yeah, I've seen it, mate. I thought, you know what, we're going to go to watch that fight. I'd love you to beat him.
And I want to get your opinion actually on the big news of this week. So I know apart from being a great fighter, you're a big boxing fan, and you're always vocal and stuff. What's your thoughts on the AJ and Fury situation and Wilder throwing himself in the mix?
Yeah, it's just not destined to happen, is it? I mean, like, I thought it was on. I got told a while ago it was on, and obviously that Wilder's wanting 20 mil. I thought they're both getting 75 mil. They should just give them 10 mil each and fucking keep the 65. Yeah. So I mean, you want to fight that much, just give them 10 mil each. Keep 65 million.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
100%. I've been sceptical the whole way through about it. I just think there's something there where it's just such a big fight to happen, and I'm just hoping, as a boxing fan's point of view and not a business point of view, I'm hoping they all work out great. Where we get Usyk Joshua, which will be a great fight. Yeah. Fury knocks Wilder out again or stops him again, and then we get the big fight at Wembley. But I just can't see it. I've got something in me that tells me it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought it might, like you said, it might work out better. It might box empty, and then the crowds are back. You can fill Wembley, so you never know. It could work out, but the money they're offering at Saudi Arabia is silly. So I mean, that's just silly money. So they're gonna go with the money, aren't they?
It does get to the point where it's like, what's the difference between 10 mil and 15 mil? Like, listen, you can do the same with 10 mil that you can do with 20 mil. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's just that money. You can't spend it in one lifetime, but all like kids are all sorted.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
If it goes ahead and if it happens and we get all things fall into place, who do you think is going to win?
No, obviously, I know Joshua personally on a personal level, but if I'm being honest, I've got to say Fury's the favourite. He showed a bit more dimensions to his boxing. He showed a bit of a different look. He can go forward, he can box the back foot, he can do it all. But in heavyweight boxing, one shot can change the whole fight, and Fury could be outboxing Joshua. Joshua lands a big shot and a big flurry finishes it. So therefore, a 50-50 fight, but I think Fury's a slight favourite.
Yeah, no, same. And I think the tough one actually in it is you'd actually expect. I'm a great fan of Usyk, but you'd think pure size, Joshua's can beat him. But Fury could go in and fight Wilder. Wilder's like the forgotten man. He could completely outbox him for 12 rounds, and in the last 10 seconds get knocked spark out, and then it's all off again. It's a much more dangerous situation for Fury than it is for Joshua.
Two totally different styles. Like, Joshua does everything right. He's very correct. He, in terms of boxing, if you wanted someone to teach your son how to box, it would be Joshua. Fury does everything wrong, but it works for him. His hands are all over the place. He's jerky, and that's what helps him. That's why Fury, for me, wins that fight, because style-wise, I just think he's got that style that beats someone like Joshua so upright.
Yeah, he's all wrong with Joshua. He's like the long arms and the unorthodox and like the height and range he's got. But like I said, one punch changes it all in heavyweight boxing. So you never know. But I agree with you about Joshua. Usyk, he's too big for him. Like, just over to give Usyk a nightmare, and that was just because of the sheer size. Where Joshua's bigger and stronger again. Do you know what I mean? I think Joshua's too big for him.
Yeah. I agree. And we know you're going into. We're giving away a bit of exclusive information. We know you're going into camp next week. Is there any? Have you got any fight news? Can you give us any clues, or are you keeping that?
Yeah, I'm a bother. I'll tell you. I think I'm 24th of July in Eddie's Garden. I think I am, but there's two potential opponents, so I won't mention them just yet. But it's going to be either a European level fight or a fringe world fight. So it's going to be a big step up, mate. So big step up for me, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, good luck in camp, mate. Good luck for the fight, and I'll be really excited to watch that one and the rest of your career as well.
That's good news for me, and because that means Fitzgerald can't say that he's fighting you or he's looking for the fight with you because you're not fighting him next. So
I've even still a box from middleweight and he still won't fight, lad. So you won't smash him, Brian.
Mate, we really appreciate you coming on, mate. You're a top guy, mate. Honestly, and I've got so much respect for you. So thanks, mate. Cheers.
See you later, lads. Thanks, boys.
Right,
see you later.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, it was good to have Aaron on. Got to say, he didn't disappoint. He's a good lad, isn't he?
No, he is. He's he's mistaken on social media sometimes because he's got a big following. He's very opinionated.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't think he's the down to earth, likeable lad that he come across there.
Yeah. And you know, we can't. I've tried to make Rose Fowler 2 happen, but he just doesn't want it, mate. He's running
I
scared.
think he's moving on.
No, I'm not having that. He knows you were robbed that night. He doesn't. No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So yeah, good podcast this week. I've got to say, I really enjoyed everything we spoke about. It was just good to chat.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we had Bobby on first. It was a great chat.
We got past that, didn't we? Yeah, you were great, Bobby.
Like I said, we were desperate for Bobby.
So next week, are we going to tell people we've got next week? Should we change our strategy this week? I think we should tell them.
No, I don't think we should.
All right, I won't argue you then. You have to wait and find out. No, let them find out. Let's go with it.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, thanks for your support. Hope you're enjoying the podcast as much as we enjoyed doing it, and we'll see you next week with a guest we can't mention.
Yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. Like, share, and comment. Really appreciate it.